Today is session number 6. Today is April 15, 2024. This is Discovering the Essence of Nonviolent Communication, an open-hearted practice group with Jim and Jori Manske, and I'll turn it to you. Welcome.
Thanks, Marta. Appreciate your support. She has made my life wonderful in 10,000 ways, and we're only like on week 6. I'm really happy with the support that we're receiving from NVC Academy. And we're doing this, by the way, as a fundraiser for NVC Academy's scholarship program. So if you feel moved by what you're learning here and want to support other people who may not have access to the courses on NVC Academy, especially the ones that are paid courses, then please consider making a weekly donation for the class. Anywhere from $5 to $50 would be greatly appreciated.
Or 500 if you really want.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to limit
Go
it.
for it. Yeah. So I'm Jim Manske, if we haven't met before, and right now I'm feeling, I'm really curious about what we'll learn together today. Our topic is on self-acceptance. I started the day early with an opportunity to connect with some of the assessors. Assessors are certified trainers that support candidates who want to become certified trainers in their journey to become certified trainers. And it was really fun to have about 18 of us together, learning together. And so it was a very rich experience, followed by an empathy call. I try to have an empathy call at least 2 or 3 times a week. And I had an empathy call with my colleague River from Philadelphia. And then I got a little chance to take a walk. And so I'm feeling rested and jazzed. How are you?
I'm happy. I'm really glad to see all of you. It really is such a sweet thing to have a sense of this community. We're out here doing in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We do all our work pretty much online now. And there's something about being always in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that is, I don't want to say lonely, but it's just like, I don't have that sense of community always. So this is particularly wonderful to see all your faces every week. Thank you. And actually, what I'm most grateful for is everything that you're doing for yourself to make your life more wonderful and everybody else's as well. Thank you.
One of the things that Jori's done in the last 24 hours that made my life more wonderful is we harvested a bunch of bananas, and this bunch had 100 bananas on it. And so we were suddenly overwhelmed with bananas. I'd also just bought bananas at the store. And so Jori spent, I don't know how many hours
yesterday
processing the bananas and drying them so that they're available to give away as gifts and for us. And just to protect the bananas so that we have them for use later.
Yeah, that might be a record.
Maybe.
How many bananas
There's more coming. We had a lot of rain this year, and bananas have been very happy.
Yes, we grow a lot of them.
So I'm going to share my screen.
So if you come to Maui, let us give you some bananas.
So our theme today is self-acceptance, which on the matrix is defined as accepting oneself with unconditional caring. And we always start our classes with a self-connection exercise. So we're big believers in using nonviolent communication primarily, not only, but primarily first, in other words, as a way of building a life-serving system within yourself. And I'm inspired by this quote from Marshall's book, Language of Life, where he says, nonviolent communication's most crucial application may be in the way we treat ourselves. When we are internally violent towards ourselves, it's difficult to be genuinely compassionate towards others. And so that's our theme today, is how to awaken more self-compassion. And we'll start that with a song. As soon as I get my act together here. You guys just disappeared for some reason. But anyway, here we go.
There they are.
Oh boy, you'd think after 5 years of using Zoom almost every day, I'd get the hang of it. I am going to share my screen and play a song with you. Some of you might have heard Marshall or seen a video of Marshall singing a song called See Me Beautiful. And the song was written by a guy named Red Grammer. And I found a YouTube video of Red singing the song. So that's what we're going to play today. And this would be your opportunity to enjoy it from the author himself.
And also to connect with yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
See me beautiful, look for the best in me. It's what I really am, and all I wanna be. May take some time, it may be hard to find, but see me beautiful. See me beautiful, each and every day. To take a chance, find a way to see me shining through in everything I do, and see you.
I'm going to pause it for just a second. Someone's saying they're having trouble hearing. I did try to share the sound.
But
So
ask other people if they
I'm
could hear
gonna
it.
just check and ask for Martha's help here. So I'm gonna stop sharing. So Martha, when I usually share a video and I open up the screen, there's usually buttons on the bottom of my screen that say, oh, there they are. They moved them over here. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so you weren't hearing that
Not very well.
already?
Not very well. I'm gonna start it over.
It's very patchy. It's like it's spooling.
Okay, I'm gonna start it over because I don't want you to miss a bit of it.
It's such a wonderful song.
Here we go.
It's just-
We'll try again.
Yeah.
See me beautiful, look for the best in me. It's what I really am, and all I wanna be. It may take some time, it may be hard to find, but see me beautiful. See me beautiful, each and every day. Could you take a chance? Could you find a way to see me shining through in everything I do, and see me beautiful? See me beautiful, look for the best in me. It's what I really am, and all I wanna be. It may take some time, it may be hard to find, but see me beautiful. See me beautiful, each and every day. Could you take a chance? Could you find a way to see me shining through in everything I do, and see me beautiful.
Thanks, Red. And thanks also to the Chinese musician that played that ancient instrument. So notice how you feel right now connecting to that song. Just allow yourself to Go to your own direct experience of feelings. Notice the feeling that's in your body. If it's helpful, you can name it for yourself. And then just allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. And then consider, why do you feel what you feel? What needs are alive in you? Sometimes needs just show up as an energy that doesn't have a name. And sometimes it might be just really clear. The word that you might use to describe a particular need. Notice it, name it if it's helpful, and then savor it. Savor this energy. Savoring means to extend the pleasure of something. And one thing to consider as you savor the needs alive in you is that we all share these needs. This is how we can connect. Every single of the 100 people on this call and the 8 billion of us on the planet all share the need that you're experiencing right now. And from this, hopefully, deeper sense of self-connection to your feelings and needs, consider what would make your life more wonderful for the next couple of hours. This question helps to point us towards requests. In this case, requests that you might make of yourself or of somebody else that's here in our community today. And if, like me, your eyes have been closed, you can let them open. And if they're already open, then just look around. Look at the screen that we're using here on Zoom. And if your eyes drift off the screen and look around in your environment to your beloved, for example. And then we're going to go to small groups just to talk about what your experience is. So we move from self-connection or self-empathy to empathy and honesty. Empathy being the listening part of NVC and honesty being the speaking part of NVC. And so we'll do this for 12 minutes as usual at the beginning. And so everybody has they're groups of 3 for the most part. So everybody has about 4 minutes to share. There'll be 1 minute at the end. Do keep track of your own time to make room for everybody else. And when you're listening, remember that your mouth is not required to listen, only your heart and your ears and your body. So you can be fully present to the speaker and no need to respond to what they say unless they ask for a response. And then you can choose.
Yeah, and everybody who wants a chance to speak would be benefited by having a timekeeper so that we don't lose track as we're talking. And
thank you. And thanks for advocating, Corey. So I put into the chat the link to that particular version of the song, and it'll also be in the notes from the call at the end that you'll get in the classroom. So this is the time in our group where we just connect with each other for a few minutes to find out how you're doing so far. Especially if there's any breakthroughs that you want to celebrate from your practice this week, anything that is going particularly well, love to hear that. If there's any leftover questions from last week, or if you just want to say what's alive in you after the small group or after the song. So if you'd like to be heard, just raise your hand, use the electronic hand at the bottom of your screen under reactions.
I see Monica already has her hand up. How cute.
Anybody? Especially open to hearing new voices. We haven't met all of you yet. So if you haven't spoken yet, go ahead, Benedict.
Yeah, thank you. I want to say that when I heard the song, I don't know if you remember the Grinch. In my head it was nya 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 nya. It's so stupid, this song, and but yeah, resistance. I was feeling some anger. It's so stupid, and I learned from one of my NVC coach that if I'm triggered with I want you to see me beautiful. It means I don't see myself beautiful, because if I was, they say I'm ugly and I don't mind because I know I'm beautiful. So I could see I need trust that I am beautiful, and I need my need for vulnerability, accepting myself. So then I got teary, and even now I feel wow, super vulnerable. So all this roller coaster a bit.
Wow, a lot going on just in the length of time of the song, where you really lived the process of being with your judgments, transforming them into feelings, and then seeing what happens as you make that transformation. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Thank
Feel
you.
inspired. You complete?
Yes. Thank
Benedict? Sorry, Carol?
So what was present in me listening to the song and also in the share is I don't know how to be present with myself and connect with somebody else at the same time. It's so hard. It's either out to them or it's into me. And when I'm trying to connect with somebody else and I'm not connected to myself, it's very stressful.
Right.
So leaving myself behind is stressful. And I live in that world so much, and I just want to stop that. And sometimes my fear is if I stop like being, hypervigilant or being out in the world, I'm just going to go to sleep, or, I'm just, it's like, how do I be and do at the same time? Kind of thing.
Yeah. So you notice that when your attention splits between you and the other person, that there's something that splits in your heart, and it actually stimulates anxiety in you of some sort. And you'd love to have some sense of liberation from that, so that you could really be with both yourself in the presence of somebody else at the same time.
Got it. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I think you're actually pointing to an observation, which is we can only pay attention to one thing at a time. We can go quickly between things, and I think that's where the skill is. But multitasking is an illusion that's been foisted upon. Here comes a little personal opinion. Multitasking is an illusion that's been foisted upon us by a domination system that wants us to be able to use our phone while we watch TV and eat the greatest processed food possible, while also fill in the blank with 4 or 5 other things. And so then we lose that sense of being with anything, including connection with ourselves. So go ahead.
So that brings up the actual thing is when I'm in a situation like just now where I feel I was heard, which is the empathy, there's this huge settling down
Mhm.
just to be heard. So the power of NVC,
Yeah.
really.
The power of empathy. It's the greatest
Empathy.
gift that any of you can give to one another and to your loved ones. It's
And
just
to yourself.
it's just to be
Yeah.
present,
Yeah.
to just listen,
Yeah.
you know? So thank you. Thank you
Yes,
for
yes.
sharing that.
Thank you.
You're complete, Carol? Yeah, good.
Yes.
And
Hi, everybody. Good to be here. So when I heard that song, I've never heard it before. I had to go, went and got the lyrics because listening for the first time, it's hard to get everything. So, but my reaction to it was, hope. I felt hope and I felt interest. And I sort of what Carol was saying, I kind of feel brokenhearted. It's something I want. And well, when I say brokenhearted, it's like something like my heart cracked open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's sort of brokenhearted because that's not my reality ever, all the time. And I want it to be.
Yeah. You touched your one of our teachers, Pema Chodron, the Buddhist nun, first Buddhist Tibetan Buddhist nun from the United States. She called it your soft spot. We have this soft spot, and we usually are quite protective of it. And you touched it today, and you want more of that. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And thank
Thank
you,
you.
Samya, for putting the lyrics into the chat. I reposted them in case you might have missed it. Some of you might have missed it the first time. And thanks, Red and Kathy Grammer, for writing that song. I've probably heard it 1,000 times now,
Right.
probably in our life, because Marshall used to sing it all the time.
But not hearing, I had never heard him sing it, and it was
Yeah,
a little
good.
bit different.
Yeah.
Just a little bit different.
Nice to hear his soul
Yeah.
come through.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. Well, let's move into our topic today, which is self-acceptance. I already defined it as accepting oneself with unconditional caring. So that's sort of the aim of what we're going to be teaching about today. Here's the path of the matrix, the skill path. And so we all start out in this place of just being reactive. And, I think this is almost a universal issue about not loving ourselves. Except for I heard when the Dalai Lama was asked about not loving yourself, what I read was he was puzzled. It was not his experience. And so that gave me some hope that maybe there are people in the world who don't carry the baggage of these habitually installed reactive patterns that are full of shame, self-blame, self-criticism, defensiveness, and so forth. I certainly know it's been a feature of my spiritual path is working with self-loathing. Started as self-loathing in teenage years, and then gradually got some freedom. And then when we discovered NVC, it was like pushing the accelerator on self-love.
Right.
And then at some point we wake up a little bit. We start becoming aware of the quality of our thinking and noticing these self-judgmental thoughts. And we see how damaging it can be for us. And we start this process of yearning for more self-empathy, self-compassion, and self-acceptance. And eventually we get to this place of having a more life-enriching response. And we actually use the 4 components of NVC to help us get there. We notice what we're feeling, what we're needing, becoming more aware of our thoughts and our behaviors. And then we become more clear and caring with oneself.
Yeah. We can move out of some of those habitual patterns and wake up.
So we're on week 6 or so, and I don't want to take the time to go through all of the takeaways from the previous weeks, but I do want to remind you of this, of how we ended the class last week, which was about the needs cycle. We're all riding the needs cycle. And so where we are in the cycle, I don't know how many needs we have. I've seen lists of as few as 4 needs. And I think we have about 20 needs or so on our list. I've seen needs lists that have 50 different needs on it. I don't know how many needs we have, but whatever the need is, it goes through these cycles. And where we are on the needs cycle determines the feelings that we're noticing in the moment. So when we're at the blue arrow end of the spectrum here, we feel fulfilled. It's a sense of gratitude and openness.
And Jim,
yeah.
I'm sorry to be interrupting you, but the slide is not changing, and I'm just checking, is it supposed to be changing?
There's only one slide. It should say
Satisfying on the
oh,
top.
let's just check again. Maybe I forgot to push the button.
Oh.
We were still
There.
at the main slide.
How about now? Can you see it now?
We can
It
see
just says
self-acceptance.
self-acceptance. It doesn't show the chart that you were talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for letting us
see
know.
why that could be.
Share screen.
How about now?
Yes.
Oh,
Bingo.
Good.
thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
much
so
better.
this is the need cycle. And so when we're in this fulfilled end of the spectrum, we're feeling what I like to call life-affirming emotions. And then as the need begins to, as life unfolds, let's just take food as the example. When we have a nice full belly, we feel fulfilled. And then eventually we start getting hungry again. So hunger is the signal that a need is emerging. And we have all kinds of hungers. There's a different hunger that goes along with every single need. And so each of the feelings that we have on the feelings list points to somewhere on this need cycle.
Yeah, hunger's not just about food. It is the longing to meet the needs of our bodies and our hearts.
And if we don't care for the need, we start having a sense of urgency, maybe even panic. And we start making choices and decisions out of that less than resourceful state that may be costly to ourselves and others if we don't attend to a need and it gets urgent. And then we start, once we do start paying attention to the need, we start satisfying it again. We make ourselves some dinner or breakfast or whatever it is, and we keep eating until we get satisfied. And someone said we missed this slide, so I'll put it up so you can, this will all be in the classroom as well. But a lot of people like to take pictures of these slides or savor them for a minute, so I'll be quiet for a second while you look at this. Shut our door. There's some bleed over from our neighbor there. Not that door, this door.
Jim, Sean on this side. Can you repeat this line when the need is emerging and we go to an urgent part of it? Something you said, we work from our unresourceful.
Yeah, if we let a need become urgent, I can only talk about my own experience, and I don't know if this is true for all 8 billion of us, but I think it is, that if we don't attend to a need as it's emerging and we let it become urgent, it becomes consciousness dominated. And we might start mixing up needs and strategies, and we get a little panicky. We might do or say things that end up impacting our relationships and our well-being. So the idea is to fine-tune our feelings awareness so we catch the needs as they're emerging and work towards satisfying. So we skip the red end. We kind of keep everything blue as best as we can. And we forgive ourselves when we don't, but that's the idea.
That we become more and more aware of what our needs are, which makes it easier to satisfy them. We know what's going on.
Yeah, so let's practice. And we're going to work again with the skill of self-assessment. So the first practice is to think of a moral judgment of me. Jori said earlier, well, they can judge me too. So you can write down any kind of a moral judgment that you have of me. or of
Or
Jori.
me.
You don't have to share this with anybody. It's just for your own work. And these judgments don't mean anything about us. At least that's my theory. So just write down the observation. It's probably just going to be one line of
Yeah.
some kind of a moral judgment, something that you think I'm doing wrong or that Jori's doing wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we suggest you do it about Jim or I so that you can stay really present, not to pick something that will be so triggering.
Mhm.
Maybe you don't like the color of my hair. Maybe you don't like that Jim just said more words than you enjoyed, or didn't say enough. Or something along those lines.
So think of a moral judgment and then write it down. And then check, do you have a similar judgment of yourself? I have a prediction about this, that you probably do,
Mm-hmm.
but you might be wired up different than me. So if you don't have a similar judgment of yourself, then the rest of the exercise probably won't make a whole lot of sense to you.
Yeah, so the initial judgment might be something that's a should. Someone should, and I should too.
Yeah. And then notice how you feel if you say that judgment to yourself. Some possibilities that I've experienced, guilt, shame, anxiety, fear, disgust. What do you notice when you talk to yourself in a language of moral judgment? Just be with those feelings as you then start to connect to the need.
Yeah.
What need is alive in you
Mhm.
when you talk to yourself that way and stimulate those feelings of guilt, shame, or anxiety?
Yeah, and you can go through whatever the thoughts are of why and keep digging down. If I had that, then what? Then what? Until you actually get to the underlying value.
And then express that need in a sentence. For example, if the judgment was Jim dominates Jori, I follow that to the need for, I certainly shouldn't dominate Jori. So it's definitely a judgment that I share in myself. And if I follow it through the feelings, I get to a need for partnership and cooperation. And then I can express that need as a simple sentence. I love it when there's partnership and cooperation. And then repeat that sentence to yourself 3 times.
Yeah, your sentence.
Mhm.
You love it when whatever that is that you came up with for yourself.
And notice how you feel when you talk to yourself that way. And love to see some of the feelings and the needs that are alive in you in the chat, if you're willing to share. What are the feelings and needs alive in you that you discovered by exploring this moral judgment?
Need for connection and warmth.
I love it when there's connection and a warmth. I love it when there's respect, inclusion,
We're reading the chat now.
support, presence,
Safety,
connection.
authentic self-expression,
I value all voices, comprehension, understanding, empathy,
care, love, safety, expression.
acknowledgement. I love it that they're going by so fast I can't keep up with them.
That's not any.
Growth, authenticity, and joy. And what kind of feelings are you noticing as you talk to yourself this way?
Mhm.
Excitement,
We're reading the chat. I think people know that, but just in
yearning,
case.
inclusion, openness, acetylene, warm and amazed, fulfillment, free,
Rea-
calm.
We skipped reality up there. Yeah. Forgiveness.
Yeah. Forgiveness. I really like that someone noticed forgiveness. That's that part of the pathway towards
Mhm.
self-acceptance.
Ease and peace. Freedom.
Joy.
Delight. Fairness, equality,
Empowered.
contribution,
Yeah. Keep them coming. We'll keep practicing here.
and feeling empowered, peacefulness.
Now, when you go back to the moral judgment that you started with, whatever you started with, either the moral judgment of me or Jori or maybe,
Someone else, you know?
how do you feel now after doing this brief self-empathy work? What's the feeling that comes up in this moment, this new, fresh moment? Relief. I feel better. Sense of shared reality, spaciousness. Less rigid. Hope.
Grounded,
Ah,
amused,
yeah,
compassionate, curious, and trust.
yeah. Expanded. Peace.
Flexible. Some sadness as well. Yeah.
So now go back and think about the moral judgment and see if you can make an observation about it. What is it that you specifically see or hear that awakens your awareness of the judgment? Maybe you notice that sometimes I start talking before Jori stops speaking. Or maybe you notice that I use about, I don't know, 8 times as many words as Jori does.
Only 8?
So connecting to the original observation can give you a clue about when you need self-empathy. And then imagine that you do what you think that I shouldn't do. And notice how you feel. And if you're not feeling some of these more spacious feelings, then just repeat. Just go back to the feelings, connect them to a need. Express the need as a sentence. I love it when. So this particular strategy can be very helpful. And I want to give Mary McKenzie, the founder of NVC Academy, co-founder of NVC Academy, credit for this exercise. I learned it from her. And I love that it demonstrates how quickly we can go through the whole need cycle. So just by noticing a moral judgment, calling attention to a moral judgment, something began to emerge, the need for self-connection, the need for self-empathy. And we started taking care of it quite quickly. So although you might have had this judgment for the last 6 weeks, I don't know, but we dealt with it here in about 15 seconds. So we just kind of skipped the urgent part and we started satisfying it by paying attention to feelings, noticing them, naming them, allowing them to be, connecting to the need, creating this simple sentence, I love it when, and it started satisfying that need for self-connection. And so we ended up with these life-affirming feelings that some people put, like peace, flexibility, expansion, trust, amused, taking a deep breath, and so forth. So that's what the need cycle feels like. So I wanted to just stop here and see if anybody has any questions or comments about this exercise.
Jim, could you
Yes.
maybe please go to the previous slide? I missed seeing the last question.
I didn't quite.
Yeah, your voice is way too low. I can't quite. Oh, there it is. It's written in the bottom.
Previous slide, I'm missing the last question. Okay. Yeah, I can put it back up. If I can.
He thinks he can, anyway. There you go.
So the one before this was the one with all the questions on it.
Is that what you're looking for?
That was the last one before the need cycle. That has all 9 steps of the practice.
I don't know who just asked for that, but is it giving you what you wanted? I don't hear
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
great.
Thank you so
Perfect.
much.
Yep, good. And BB, you have your hand up?
Right here? No.
Are you there, BB?
Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't muted. I was muted.
Okay.
So, hi everyone. So what came up for me, which was very interesting to like sort of make the connection, is you use the word urgency. And what I notice is it's a habituated urgency that I have, that when a need, now that I can say it's a need, is not being met, because I wasn't able to ever really ask for what I needed, was met with, was met with the opposite of, if you ask for something and met with anything that was like shaming or just not, it kind of created a sense of, I want to say, panic on the inside, because I think there's this anticipatory something bad's going to happen, because I don't know if I'm making sense. I lost where you guys, there you are. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, it created this sort of like habitual panic inside, because asking for what I needed was consistently met with something, shaming or inappropriate or whatever, something that cut off. So now when I have that, when something happens and there's a need, I'm automatically go to panic. And so that, I think, is what creates the urgency in a way, like, now what do I do on the inside? Anyway, I just
It makes perfect sense, sweetie.
Thank
It
you.
really does, because we have so much training of right and wrong, okay, not okay kinds of things, that it sometimes takes some time for our nervous system to really get that we're okay right now, that this really does matter, that it's okay that I have this need.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're all educated. Unfortunately, we're all educated to think that we shouldn't have needs. And I think it affects all of us. Marshall had the belief that it affects women even more than men because women are enculturated to be the servants and to put their own needs aside commonly, and it starts very, very young. That and we're given the judgment that we're being needy if we start asking for what we want, and so we internalize that. And of course, it would generate panic when, especially when we start learning, hey, it's okay to start advocating for my needs. And then we might put ourselves in the position of becoming vulnerable. And so vulnerability can stimulate panic sometimes. That, what you say, I'll bet, matches the experience of many people here.
Yeah, not just women, men too. That domination system is something we've all experienced. Yeah.
How does it feel hearing that, Bridget?
Validating.
Yeah.
I love seeing that smile that tells me that you're integrating it into your life as something other than, you know, beyond just there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
You're really integrating it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for sharing that.
Patty?
Yeah, I need to sit with this, I think, a little more, but I do want to throw something out. I enjoyed this process because it was like, in a sense, it's almost a no-brainer. The things that bother us about other people are something that often that we're dealing with. But where I'm having trouble, in fact, as I went through the cycle, one of the sentences I had was, I need to give myself a break. And I thought, well, that's interesting because I had something else before at the end and I crossed it out. Anyway, but what I'm wondering about is if we're using this cycle and we're actually, the first sentence isn't as, it really is an appropriate evaluation. In other words, if I said something like, X person is in an incredible rage that is not called for. I may or may not really be a person who rages. So I may not then say I'm a person who rages. Is that not? I mean, I might, but what I mean is, where is it when you're doing this sort of cycle where there's some real evaluative stuff in the people that we work or live with or work with or in community with, that we have the right to say, this is what I see happening. We don't have to take it in, maybe we don't have to also act out on it, but it is a little separate than this particular exercise, Ross. And I wasn't sure what to do with that piece. I don't know if that makes any sense also.
I would say use this exercise in moments when it makes sense to use it. And if it doesn't, then become aware of that there's just something else going on. And it's great practice, it seems to me, to make the distinction between observation and observation mixed with evaluation that we talked about in week 3, maybe something like that. And so, you know, if I say it appears to me that Jori is in a rage, then that's an observation. And I might be able to actually point to certain behaviors. She's speaking in a voice volume that's louder than a normal conversation. And I could make some other observations about that. But then if I start evaluating it, that it's inappropriate, then I just want to notice that.
Yeah.
That's a moral judgment. It's me deciding that I know what's appropriate and inappropriate. And I almost know from my own experience of working with this now for even long before NVC, that if I were to behave that way, the next thing on my agenda would be to beat myself up. And so it would become another piece of evidence that I was, as Marshall had this joke, PPPPPPT, which is the opposite of self-acceptance. Piss poor protoplasm, poorly put together.
Yeah.
And so that's how we build this case against ourselves that we're not good enough. And often we project this not good enough onto others. So that was a bit of a long answer. I wonder if any of it resonated for you, Patty.
I like the part about use this exercise where it works, because I do think there are places, and I think in terms of being activists and standing up for social justice and things where we do have to be evaluative. It's what we do with that evaluation versus just,
Yes,
perseverating over it or something.
Right.
But I like the fact that doesn't mean to throw the baby out with the bathwater if I don't get that one piece all the time. Use it when it works, as you said.
Exactly.
And how it makes sense. And if it doesn't, then maybe there's another exercise that'll work for the other issues in life.
Exactly. And to notice that and as we keep going through the course, we'll begin to get clearer and clearer on two different paradigms or styles of evaluation. One is life alienating evaluation, a moral judgment. The other is a life affirming evaluation or a value judgment. So so this is how I motivate myself in social change without creating an enemy image, is I don't make the other person wrong. I evaluate their behavior. And how I evaluate their behavior is that it doesn't meet my need for safety or whatever the need is that's alive based on that. So I'm learning to become more aware of this distinction between a moral judgment and a value judgment, trusting that connecting to a value judgment will lead to more connection in the kind of world that I eventually want to live in.
Thank you.
And you can see that you have some gratitude in the chat for bringing that forth. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for speaking up, Patty.
Yeah.
Umesh?
Hi, Jim and Jori. So, I found it really hard, to think of a moral judgment about the two of you, But then I realized, is good, so moral judgment is not just about bad,
That's
and
right.
okay. Good is also a moral judgment.
That's exactly right. Thank you
So this
for naming that.
Yes.
I didn't say that. But a moral judgment will put us into the same bind, whether it's good or bad. So-called.
Yeah. And so it's like the word came out like adoration, and I do this hero worship, I love it, a lot of people, at times, what is giver, contributor, So I started doing, and then I started seeing that, how I fall into that trap also. I couldn't finish the exercise fully, but it opened up something.
Yeah.
And I say that, I get influenced a lot by watching TED Talks and this. And at the end, what happens, I have given a lot of myself. And I say, hey, disconnect from everything from there, because I have wasted a lot of time, in this effort, or endeavor for like 4 years, 5 years. And then suddenly I'm disconnecting totally. So
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
sharing,
you.
Umesh. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I also want to point out that sometimes when someone like you is speaking, that you take the, what is it? That little sign that says you want to talk off. And that moves your face back down into the whole community, so they can't really see you speaking as well.
Yeah. So Martha will take care of lowering your hand
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that part. Okay, I now want to play another song. Back in college, which was like a lifetime ago, I was a disc jockey. And so I love playing music for people because I think it really moves them. And I think that sometimes other people's music can be more moving than anything that Jori and I could come up with to say. So I wanted to play another song for you. And a little backstory on this. When Jori and I moved to Hawaii, we started going to the ukulele festival. We wanted to immerse ourselves in Hawaiian culture as much as we could. And so we found out that there was an ukulele festival. And we found out that it was started by a man named Roy Sakuma. And Roy became a personal hero to me when I learned about some of the work that he's done in the world. One specific example is after the Fukushima disaster, however many years ago that was. Seems like just yesterday, and it also seems like forever ago. Roy arranged for 1,000 ukuleles to be delivered to Fukushima survivors to bring them some joy in their recovery efforts. And 1,000 is probably a number that I just made up, but you get the idea that he basically connected with all the ukulele manufacturers that he had been connecting with for years, and then he found a way to arrange for these ukuleles to be delivered. And Roy also talks about his own struggle with self-acceptance. I can't remember the details, but when he was a young man, he had a big beat yourself up jackal that was alive in him, and it was really preventing him from doing anything meaningful in his life. And somehow a mentor or a friend or a grandparent, I don't remember who, helped him to begin to heal this self-loathing. And he ended up writing this song. And I will put the words into the chat.
I love this song.
People wonder where I'm going. People watch me do my thing. People ask me who I am. Here's what I say. I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Can't you see that it's me, all of me? I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me? Now myself I'd like to be reaching out, feeling free, doing good where I can. With this in my heart, I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me, all of me? I am what I am. I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me? That it's me, all of me. I am what
I don't know who all these musicians are by name, but I can tell you that the lower right-hand corner of your screen is Jake Shimabukuro.
Oh, I know, it brought tears to my eyes, you too.
Another hero of mine.
Yeah.
He has an album called Peace, Love, and Ukulele. And Herb Ota in the center there. And so I will put the words to the song, and also I found the chords. For those of you who play a chorded instrument, I'll put the chords into the chat as well. But in the meantime, what I'd like to do is invite Martha to open up the breakout rooms again, so you guys can talk about what's alive in you after hearing this song. So anything like that. So if anybody else has anything you'd like to say, please do so.
I'm still here, Jim. I
Hey,
wasn't.
Jeff.
I heard you say maybe I was asleep.
I wondered, I was actually hoping that maybe you finally just succumbed and got your need for rest.
I want to say about the song, it didn't feel good for me. I didn't like it. I'm not at a place where I can say I'll be what I'll be, and I am what I am, and take it with full acceptance yet. I'm getting there. I'm getting to self-appreciation, and the first song definitely helped me, to see me as beautiful. But a person who does, I interpreted the second song as though I don't need to change, I can just stay the way I am. And that's where I got hung up with it.
Because you so value your own personal growth. Is that right? You don't want to take away any motivation to keep growing.
I'm also painfully aware that the way I've been has been hurtful to people. And so I don't want to stay. Yeah. Thank you for the way you said it.
Yeah. You want to learn whatever you can learn. So you behave in ways that are congruent with your values now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all lifelong learners.
Yeah, what you missed while Jeff's share was he didn't like the song much.
Oh.
Just to put a not too fine a point on it. And because one of the messages that you could take away from the song is you don't have to grow, you don't have to change. You're okay just the way you are, and so forth.
I am.
Yeah.
You're hearing me.
You're welcome. I understand that sentiment.
Yeah. For me, what I hear, if you'd like to hear that,
please,
is
yeah.
that I am who I am. So there's that acceptance of this moment, but also I'll be who I'll be. I'm not done yet.
I like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That reminds me that change is inevitable. And I know that I know the trajectory I've set for myself. So I know it's changed for the better.
Yeah. And thanks for being on this path with us, because we're all on this journey together, growing together. Yeah.
Everyone will be back in about a minute now, 45 seconds, just to give you guys a time check. Some folks are coming back already.
So automatic to press that button when you see it.
Sometimes maybe people were done.
That's true.
I hear that maybe I wasn't as clear in the instructions as some people would have liked, so that could be possible, that they spent their whole time, what are we supposed to be talking about? So I'll try to remember to be a little clearer in the request next time.
All right.
Standing by for the Zoom in 5 seconds. Zoom. Okay, I put the words already into the chat. Here is
a link to the
a
song.
link to I'm not sure which link this was, because I have two to share. Here's the YouTube, and here's the link to the YouTube. So the first link there is the chords for those of you who play ukulele, and I'm sure you could transpose the chords for a guitar or bass or whatever you play as well. So I want to hear from you guys about what happened in your small group, but I want to tell you the strategy that Roy used when he introduced us to this song, which was that he was at the ukulele festival, and he did a lesson for people that were at the ukulele festival to a private, not a private lesson, but there were probably about 50 people in the class or something like that before the day before the festival. And so this is the song that he taught us to play. And then at the end of the class, he says, tomorrow, you guys are going to open the festival with this song, if you're willing. So he made it as a request. And so there we were, about 50 or 75 of us who'd never been in front of 1,000 people before, I'm sure, and we played this song. It was so moving and connecting. So that's my share about this particular song, how it affected me. What about you? What would you like to share about this? Anything alive in you? If you have something you'd like to share, just raise your hand.
Maybe it's time for you to raise your hand.
Here we go, Sarah Joy. A fellow, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Jim and Jori, for bringing this in. I love hearing songs that help me learn in other ways, because I like to learn not just in words, but in many other ways. So this is one. And I think what I learned today is to have more self-compassion for noticing more of the judgments that I have, inner judgments and criticisms, and to open my heart a little wider to that, and know that some of the times I can be the way I wish to be, and other times I might not. And
Right
that
on.
it's helping me reduce my expectations of a fast-paced, view, like going from motoring from one place to another and making it more like a sailboat, zigzagging back
Oh, I
and
love
forth.
it.
Allowing
that.
Yes.
wind to carry me and where I need to be going. So thank you.
Let's have a meander up these pathways.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Anaya.
I really appreciate what you said, Sarah Joy, giving us permission to be ourselves and be on the path. Thank you.
And Anaya, I'm very proud I remembered how to say it this week. Whoops, I think you're still
You're
on mute.
muted. There you
Thank
go.
you for remembering. And remember, if you can't remember, it just rhymes with papaya. Easiest way.
That's how I did it.
I want to share because I live on Maui as well, right? And so I found it so interesting. One, I really enjoy how you teach. I'm an educator myself. So I enjoy your calm. I enjoy your pace. I enjoy your playfulness together. So I really didn't have a judgment as a teacher. I couldn't find one. And so I went with my instinct, which was going with Old and White, because it was the one that I knew was in front of me, I could observe. And I loved my process because it took me all the way through to finding that I love it when there's diversity, health, and vitality. And I loved that right afterwards, you threw on a bunch of local brothers playing ukulele. And it just really had this full cycle vibe for me of not judging myself because I'm Haole and live here, and finding understanding and empathy, and that the universe will often bring diversity right up into your life. Asking, you shall receive. So that was just my share. Thank you for bringing in the Hawaiian music. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anaya.
And you heard her say the word haole, and what that means in Hawaiian is you're not local.
Yeah. It specifically, it means without breath. And when Captain Cook arrived in Hawaii back in the 18th century, he did what white people do when he met the native Hawaiians. At least this is as the story goes. He went up and he tried to shake their hand. And this was very puzzling to the Hawaiians, because when Hawaiians greet each other, they greet each other like this. They go forehead to forehead, nose to nose, and they breathe together. And aloha, which is the Hawaiian greeting, means we share the same breath. And so haole means without breath. And it was just a way here, these people are coming to our culture
And they don't have any breasts. They're not sharing.
they don't know how to
Yeah.
breathe together. And so that's where that word comes from originally.
Mhm.
Okay,
Thank
are you
you.
complete, Anaya?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Juliana.
So thank you so much for this song, Jim. I can't tell you how it warmed my heart. And in my group sharing, Sarah Joy brought out this, that there is a spark of the source in each one of us, in me and in everybody. So something to love about, everybody. And I just, that is another thing that really warmed my heart. And I have a question for you, Jim. Are comparisons moral judgments in that class?
It depends. I think I can make a comparison based on moral judgment. In fact, Marshall does a bit where he talks about if you really want to suffer, just start comparing yourself to somebody like Mozart or Einstein, and you can quickly start to suffer. But I think there's also a way that you can use comparison to work with your own aspirations, to make observations about where you are in the moment and where you would like to be. So I think it's just like anything else. There can be a life-serving way of using a comparison and a life alienated way. Does that make sense, Juliana?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Great.
That might confusion.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
We have one last practice and hopefully one last song to play as Jim plays disc jockey today. And
a role he did play in his late teens.
so I want to introduce 3 concepts to you. And we've talked about this indirectly, but I just want to be direct about it, then lead you into practice. So it's strengths, edges, and practice. Strengths are just behaviors or qualities about yourself that you enjoy. And if you want to make yourself really happy, make a list of your strengths right after the call. And just give yourself permission to really celebrate all the behaviors and qualities about yourself that you enjoy. An edge is a behavior or quality about yourself that you resist. Maybe there's a moral judgment there or a value judgment. You'll have to decide that for yourself. But an edge is just something that you would like to navigate somehow and turn it into a strength. And a practice is some kind of a skill building exercise that is designed to increase access to a particular capability or skill. In other words, to help you move a particular behavior from a strength to an edge. So here's an introductory practice to start working with this idea. Let's see here. Let's hide the others. So let's think about behaviors of yours that you enjoy. That's the first thing. Think of something that you do that you like.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, like let's say an NVC skill that or behavior that I've developed over the last 20 years is to reflect what another person says before I tell them my honesty. So some form of reflection. It could be, another one would be another behavior of mine. This is going to be fun. Another behavior of mine that I like is I'm learning to be more warm with my sweetheart. Touch her more, let her know that I love her more, kiss her where she likes to be kissed, and so forth.
Right there.
Yeah. So write down the observation of what it is that you do that you like.
Yeah, it can be even, you like to play basketball.
Or even more specifically, when I play basketball, I fill in the blank with something that you enjoy about that sport that you see as a skill. And then you can predict the next question. You've been here for 6 weeks now. We're gonna keep going to the need. What need of yours is satisfied when you behave in this way? So when I remember my intention to be warm and loving with Jori, and I I come up to her and I gently touch her on the back and tell her that I appreciate drying all those bananas. It satisfies a need for me of connection and acknowledgement. So what need of yours is satisfied when you behave in this way? And then as you remember this right now, how do you feel? Notice the feelings in your body now, not when you behave that way, but right now, as you remember behaving that way. How do you feel? I feel pride, like a pride of accomplishment, sense of self-appreciation, sense of love, feeling of love. And then savor those feelings and needs. See if you can allow yourself to taste the divine, the beloved divine energy of life moving through you. When you behave in this way, contributing to that need and feeling however you feel in response. And then consider, what do you do to cultivate this behavior? In other words, how do you set an intention? If this is a behavior you like, how do you intend to do more of it? So for example, for me, when I decided that I wanted to do this, I would lay in bed before I got up and I would practice. I would visualize myself doing more of it on this day. And then I just might even just reach over. Jori's sleeping next to me and I might just gently touch her and cuddle right then and there. So it starts with kind of a mental image for me, setting an intention and then following through. What do you do to cultivate the behavior? So in other words, what's your request of yourself, right? And when you behave this way, how does it affect your relationship with yourself? Now you're going back to an observation. What do you notice when you behave in alignment with your values? How does it affect your relationship with yourself? And then how does behaving this way affect your relationship with others? What do you notice? Another chance to make observations. And finally, how does behaving in this way influence the systems that you're a part of? And by a system, I mean the relational system, like a partnership that you might have with somebody. Could be your family system, you and your parents, or you and your children, or all of those folks. Or maybe the system of what's going on at your workplace or your neighborhood. Maybe you share the house with other people. when you behave in this way, how does it influence any of the systems that you're a part of? So I think I'm going to pause here and save this for next week because of the time.
Yeah.
So I want to hear, what did you notice when you savored a behavior? Asta.
Yeah, I raised my hand for a question, but I can answer the one that you asked as well along with
Okay.
it. I felt really loving towards myself. And yeah, it's the kind of loving energy that I feel when I look at a child enjoying herself. So I felt that. And I chose waking up in the morning at 5 a.m. is what I chose every day. And so I was confused as to how does that impact the way I relate to others. The way I relate to myself, I feel loving and joyful. But I wasn't able to really imagine in what ways does it impact the way I engage with others. So I had that question, what direction may I look at that I may not be looking at because I'm considering it to be too personal an exercise? Not sure.
So your two adjectives were loving and you said you were more loving, and what was the other piece that you said?
I think primarily loving, and I said almost how I feel when I look at a child enjoying
Yeah.
herself.
And so you're curious about how that might affect as you cultivate these feelings of love and seeing yourself as innocent, right? How do you imagine that would affect your relationship with people that matter to you? When you show up as a loving person who is perceiving themselves as innocent, how do you imagine that ripples out to your partners, in life?
Okay. So in that form, that if that quality is cultivated, then how is it that shows up?
Yeah.
I was imagining it to be more direct observations in that moment. But even then, I can now think of that. I think I am pleasant company in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying good morning to everybody in my family with a smile.
Yeah, by what I'm getting is you wake up early, you go through all your morning rituals, and so by the time you actually start interacting with people, you're alive and present, and that affects your relationships with them because you're able to be with them in a way that if you crawled out of bed 5 minutes before you have to go to work or whatever, you might be a different kind of a quality of person in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in other words, like Jori just said, self-care matters. Self-care it matters in how it affects our relationships with ourselves and our relationships with other people, whether at home or at work or in the neighborhood, even at the grocery store or the market. Thank you, Asta.
Yeah.
Does that feel complete?
Thank you. Yeah, it at least lasts for an hour. So
Yeah.
I celebrate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Got time for one more share if anyone would like to share either a question or a comment about discovering a strength like this. I like that Anaya put into the chat, you're modeling a positive behavior when you do whatever it is, a life-affirming behavior.
May I?
Please, go ahead.
Yes.
Very grateful for this practice. It really made me feel very joyful and happy at the end of the exercise. And what was most beautiful about the practice was the question around how may I cultivate this in a more conscious way. So it's like I was happy when it happened, And I think it's similar to what Asta just said, after a morning practice, I'm just so much a better version of myself. And I'm wondering, instead of just focusing on 2 hours in the morning of morning practice, what would it look like to spread out my morning practices throughout my day? Like, what if I had a 2-minute breath practice every 2 hours, just so that it's a reset? And the morning started every 2 hours. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Just making me feel very happy about possibilities and how can I take agency to become a better version of me, knowing what makes me a better version of me.
Nice.
Rather wait for a morning to allow that opportunity.
Yeah. Thank
Grateful,
you so
great.
much for sharing that. Just how
Thank you.
what's yeah.
And thanks for bringing your voice into the circle. And is it Shakti?
Yes, Jim. Shakti. Thank you. So I might need some help in step 4 and 5. I chose an example where the behavior that I enjoy was to read book, and the needs I wanted to meet was for rest, learning and growth, and for self-care. And when I dropped down to the 4th question, right now, how do you feel? I was actually feeling sadness that I couldn't do it as often as I would like. So there was that unmetness that came out really profound. And the next step of savoring, I was lost. I don't know where to move from there. And I was thinking, should I choose another example to go through this exercise? Can you help me here?
Yeah, it's almost like it's more mourning than to give yourself permission to mourn and to hold precious what you would really like to add to your life. Yeah.
I think our cultural expectation about sadness or mourning is that it's a negative emotion, a so-called negative emotion. And in the way that I look at it, it's in the list of life-affirming emotions. Sadness tells us that something really matters and that it's missing in a way that we would like to have more of it. So Marshall called it sweet pain. So tasting the sweetness is the savoring. Does that make sense?
Yes, that really opened up a very great perspective for me today, and also an awareness how much I'm resisting mourning or a negative feeling or something like sadness. Rather, when I savor it, I can see the gift behind it. And again, I can definitely drop down to 6, what I can do to cultivate this behavior. Thank you.
You're
That
very
really
welcome.
helped.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, so that clears the board and we got just enough time for the last song. So we'll end the class with the opportunity for you to go to practice group, to small groups at the end. Martha has them prepared and you can kind of wander to ones that you would like to share with some other people if you would like. We typically have maybe 5 to 7 people stay, and you're welcome to stay for as long as you like. And if 100 people stayed, there's enough room for you. So if you even want to go take a quick break and then come back and hang out with people, then that's fine. So this song was written by a friend of ours, Jai Michael Joseph, and apparently was picked up. I found this today. I've never seen this version of the song before. It's a pretty upbeat way to end the class. So I'm looking forward to sharing it with Jori because she's heard the song a million times. And so I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you all next week.
Love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful. I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself. the way I am. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage, your tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I wanna grow. The change outside could only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. Just the way just the
I love that song.
Oops. There we go. I forgot to push one button. Thank you all for being with us. I hope you enjoyed that. And I look forward to sharing more with you next week.